All right, I saw Warfare, I'm going to say 4 or 5 days ago, and I never served in the Army. And I remember when I was in high school that all the like the dudes would come around. You know how they send all those Army dudes to come to high school and try to get people to join our Army, sign up in the Army. And I remember at my high school, like, no one was really going for that. Like, I feel like anyone that wanted to be in the Army where I went to school, I'm not in some super like liberal, I'm not gonna say liberal or leftist place. Like, I feel like the inner city's leftist, Outer Banks are conservative, but like I feel like a lot of people just didn't go for it. Like, I feel like anyone that wanted to join would have joined, so it would have been no point for them to talk to them. But over the years, I only said that to say, like, even like when I was a kid, about 6 or 7 years ago in high school, you could tell that people were kind of weary of the what's the right, that's the United States military in general. So like when people see a movie like Warfare, and people see movies like and I'm not gonna say Civil War, but I'm gonna say Civil War because Alex Garland is involved with this movie. But people are just very wary of movies like this about the U.S. military's experiences in countries like Iraq and Afghanistan. And I'm not going to say those people are not wrong and have the reservations about all the wars that we've been in these not even the last 20 years, but really the last 40 to 60 years. There's a very good argument to say we've been in a lot of pointless wars over the last 40 to 60 years. But that doesn't change what these men went through. And I think at their core, that's what Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza went out to do. They just went out to make a movie about these people's experience, what they went through. And I think some people like to call Alex Garland one of the one of the biggest cowards in filmmaking right now. Like, the word coward really gets thrown around with Alex Garland a lot right now. And before this movie, I could really understand how people, and I still understand how people can see that about him and say that about him. But after this movie, I know he only co-directed, but after this movie, I really think he's trying to say war, and it's not saying some crazy thing, but he's trying in the way that he knows how to say it. War is hell, and no one should ever go through this, and this is what it is. And you can feel however you feel about what led up to it and what's gonna in the aftermath of it, but this is all these decisions, all of it leads here. This is what's gonna happen. No matter what decision you make, if it puts you on a path to here, this is what it's gonna look like. You know what I mean? And I think that's what he's doing with Civil War. Because if there is a Civil War, that's what it's gonna look like. Think back to that scene with the sniper, where the reporters are passing by and they're asking the dude, why is the guy shooting at you? I don't fucking know, but he's shooting at me, so I gotta kill him. Think about these soldiers in warfare. They never really said what their mission was, but does it fucking matter? They were in a situation where it was either them or the people that are fucking killing or shooting at them, and they need to find a way to survive. So, and you can see like some of the soldiers were very new to this level of combat, and they acted it out really well. The actors in the movie, there are quite a few recognizable faces in here. Probably most prominently Will Porter, and then you got Charles Darwin, his star is starting to rise. But there's a lot of recognizable faces in this movie, and these actors really do a good job just expressing the fear. And then some of them, like, they just did a really good job. And oh my God, like, this is probably, I think what's his name? Directed the Transformers movies. I don't know why I'm blanking on this name. I think Michael Bay really did do a good job. Like, this is all gonna lead back to Warfare, but I think Michael Bay really did do a good job with the sound design of of the bullets and the shootouts in Ambulance. And I think out of all the Heat knockoffs since Heat, I feel like Ambulance really did do a great job, but this is definitively the best sounding movie since it, like, when it comes to a technical standpoint of how the gunshots sound since Heat. I'm not gonna say it's above Heat. Maybe people who have actually served and actually have more experience with guns might just say, oh yeah, this is better than Heat. But this is easily the best sounding movie when it comes to that technical aspect of how the bullets sound, how everything sounds, every like little bit of it sounds since Heat. Like the sound design, everything, and how the movie's shot. Like, this is a beautifully made movie. It's a beautifully made movie. And man, I don't know. I think this is gonna be a movie I'm probably gonna rewatch like throughout the course of my life. I'm probably gonna rewatch this movie easily 5 or 6 times throughout the course of my life. Like, I feel like a lot of people are gonna. I feel like this movie's gonna get a lot of mileage for A24. And I'm glad that a studio like A24 will make a movie like this, regardless of whether you feel like they are pandering to a certain demographic with a movie like this. I feel like they still, even though you can say that, I feel like this movie is still different than a lot of other military movies we have seen, even recently. You know what I mean? So yeah, Warfare, I'll give it for what this movie is, this is a 10 out of 10. Now, when I say this movie is a 10 out of 10, I'm not saying it's the fucking Godfather. I'm not comparing it to Godfather. I don't think it is comparable to Godfather. You know what I mean? They're totally two different films with totally two different things. So for what this movie is, compared to all the other military films, I think it's better than a lot of recent military films. So when you want to compare it to the other recent military films, it's a 10 out of 10 on that, in that like category right there. But for what the movie is and what it's going for, it's a definite 10 out of 10. So yeah, Warfare, 10 out of 10. Peace.